Good morning, everyone. Didn't have breakfast? Can I hear it loud and clear? That's much better. Uh, just a brief intro. Chartered accountant, CFO, maybe 2 decades plus in finance. And who better to talk about breaking paradigms than someone, after being in finance, write 2 fiction books, does a rap video as well. So yeah, that's the topic, breaking paradigms. Before we start, basically the importance of breaking paradigm. Why do you want to break these routine conventions, traditional ways of doing things? Because if you don't, you'll be doing the same thing day in, day out, and that will stop you from growing. That will stop you from doing new things and bring a lot of monotony in your life. And that is what you don't want in your life, right? I'll start with a small story, right? I'm a storyteller, right? I mean, you have to start with a small story. And the story is of a man who wanted a lot of wealth. So he went to God and said, I want a lot of money. He says, God accepted and said, okay. And he said, I'll ask you to do just one thing. He said, go to a place and spend a day there, right besides the river. But only one condition. You have to be blindfolded. So he said, okay, no big deal. So he moved on. And he was blindfolded. He sat by the river. Not knowing what to do, he put up the pebbles, just picked it up, and kept throwing it in the water for the whole day. In the evening, he came to God and said, where's my wealth? And he said, you threw it all in the river. And said, that was wealth. I thought that was pebbles. I said, you didn't open your blindfold. And that's what is breaking paradigms. At the end of the day, all of us don't open our blindfolds and see the treasures of life that are right in front of us. So I'll take you to my story and the learnings that I've got over the last 2 decades in breaking paradigms and doing the unconventional to get the results I've got in my life. First of all, I'd like to tell you that I've always been a topper. And when I tell you that, that'll be a blatant lie, because I've never topped in my life. And actually, being an average is perfectly normal. I think a few percentage of people are on the top, a few percentage at the bottom. But you have as much equal chance to grow in your life to being an average than as a topper has. So give yourself a pat on your back and say, I will make it to the top, no matter what comes. But for that, I think you need dedication, discipline, and hard work. It's important to walk a mile. It's easy to walk a mile today, but it's very difficult to walk a mile every day for the next 20 years of your life. So if you get up in the morning and walk that mile every single day, you're going to beat all toppers and you're going to reach the distance you want to cover in your life. Right? I'll start my story right from my teens, maybe your age, when, every individual wants to do something that they love. And, typically, as every one of you will be facing, you're not sure of whether you want to do you love or you want to actually do things that help you grow. Academics, maybe, CA for me. My dad wanted me to play cricket, but I love music and creativity, right? So that, as usual, you have to do your academics, and I kind of agree with it because that's what needs to be done. But at the same time, there are things that you love to do. The key is to find the right balance between the things that you love to do and the things that you have to do, right? So it's important to do things that you love to do because that will give you the energy to do the things that you have to do in life. So that is a balance I learned very up early in my life. And then came the big test, getting that big degree of CA. And that is the first time I faced failure. And failure was not easy to handle. But let me tell you one thing. Failure is like your shadow. If anybody in his life says that I have not failed, it's not the truth. I fail virtually every day. But it's not important how many times that you fail. It's how you get up after that failure. And getting up out of failure, that's a lot of courage, hard work, discipline. And that is what you got to learn. It also taught me perseverance and patience. So that is where you require these kind of things in breaking your paradigms in life. Then came my next phase of my life, which was my corporate career. And it was between 2002 and 2008, one of the best phases our economy has faced. And we were growing crazy. We were growing as a corporate, by 100% year on year. It was fun. It was excellent, but I had to go through the grind. And that's another big learning that you get in life was you have to go through the grind. Do things what it takes to go through that entire process where you do things yourself but enjoy yourself at the end of the day. So I enjoyed that period, but I had to go through the grind as much as possible. Then I had this big turnaround in my life where I was going through this phase where I was doing finance jobs versus I was offered a lot of management jobs. That shift in itself was one of the biggest changes that I had to do in my life. But hadn't I done that, I wouldn't have grown as an individual. And that is very important for you to take the right decisions at the right time. A lot of learnings came from insurance, and that was risk management, customer segmentation, customer expectations, and many more things. But that was a phase that I loved the most in my life. And more importantly, when you take these bigger steps in your life, you change the paradigms, you forget what's coming in store. The thing that comes the most important is the difficulties and the challenges. The most important one is you're moving from your comfort zone to a very, very niche and a very new area. From things that you were doing on a daily basis, on a routine basis, easier done, to a place where you are absolutely knowing nothing. So when you're taking a very drastic decision, be ready for what is in store for you. At the same time, I'll tell you the most amount of learnings come from this phase where you have your backs towards your wall. You are out of your comfort zone, and that is where you learn the most. So never make the mistake of sitting back in your comfort zone and not taking the big decisions. So that was corporate life, this thing. What I forgot after spending a decade or so was, and it kept calling me back, was my health. Doing that kind of work, working 16, 18 hours a day in the corporate, we were having a lot of fun, getting parties, this, that, etc., enjoying our journey of growth. But yeah, health takes a backseat. And that's when I realized, whatever you do, you can make monuments, you can build whatever you want, unless you have your health with you, nothing is worth it, and you cannot go forward. And that's where the next phase, I had to take a back seat and make sure that I have my health on my side. And that's another learning that I got, that if you want to move ahead in your life, you have to get health on your side. And when I was starting to take a look at my health and how does health work and how the body works, the biggest, more important thing, and the most important thing for each one of you to break the paradigms is fear. The first thing that comes to my mind, oh my God, this is too difficult and I will not be able to do this. Most of our lives in today's world is driven by fear. So if you want to go ahead and do something in your life, get a reality check and see whether actually it's fear driving your life or you are driving your life. And you will be able to take control of your lives only when you stop fearing and start taking your own decisions. So if you have to break all the barriers in your life, First thing is stop fearing and take those bold decisions in your life which will take you further ahead as such. The other thing I realized is if you want to do anything in life, you have to ensure that you enjoy yourself. If I'm here today, every day in the morning, I wake up and say, I will enjoy this day because everything else that I do is a waste if I don't enjoy my days today, right? Every bit of success with a lot of struggle, with a lot of pain, it will be there. It is part of your life. It will be there. But at the end of the day, you need to enjoy it. So when I wake up in the morning, whether I'm attending a board meeting or I'm coming here for a lecture or writing a book, I just tell myself that one single thing, enjoy this very day. People ask me of how do you write books? Why do you write books? Is it making you that much money or giving lectures? Does it make you money? And there comes the balance again. There are some things in life you do for money, and there are some things in life you do for the love of it. I just love doing some of the things, and that is what gives me the energy to do all the things in my life that I have to do as such. So for breaking paradigms, remember, it's okay to be an average. Learn to be balanced. You will fail, but patiently persevere your goal. Grow through the grind. Stay healthy. Be fearless. And more importantly, enjoy the ride. Because not everything is done for money. Some things are done for the joy of doing. And so enjoy every bit of your life. And that's what will help you taking the decisions of breaking the barriers and enjoying yourself into the next level of growth. So, and I like to think one more thing about doing things was nothing was ever achieved by sitting on the couch or sleeping on the bed. So get up, get going, run, walk, fall, make mistakes, try new things, just open the blindfold and see the world with a completely new lens. Break the chains and free yourself and start living that there's no tomorrow as such. So that is what I have to present to you guys. Make sure you do new things. Every now and then we see a step taken in a different direction and write your own stories as such. So in today's world, we see people try to emulate other people, but you have a different story altogether. You have to write your own story by yourself. Don't plan much. Yesterday I was speaking to a student, and she came and asked me, how do I get to a position of a CFO of a bigger company? I said, you cannot plan those things as such. You have to take one step at a time and move in that direction. So if you're doing CA today or any other course, your first big direction will be to complete that course. Complete your education and then move to the next level. And there will be times where you will be faced with a question. Do I go with the conventional route, the traditional route? Or do I go with a completely different direction? Do I go and take that risk in my life of doing something completely new? Breaking the paradigms and ensuring that I follow a path that was never taken. And if you get to do that, don't hesitate. And remember the things that you need to do in breaking paradigms. Go through the grind, go through the pain. Make sure you follow each of your steps fearlessly, and at the end of the day, don't forget to enjoy that moment, because that moment will never come again in your life. So a few decisions in your life will be always critical, where you'll find yourself placed in a very precarious situation, which will be, shall I go with the convention or shall I go for a new route altogether? And that is where the biggest decision of yours will come. But again, it will be nothing has ever been achieved unless you get up and do something yourself. The most important thing you got to learn in all these things that I've done in my past is I've never done it with an intention of achieving something. But everything, right from playing cricket, which taught me teamwork, which gets now utilized in when I drive teams today. Strategically it helps me also putting some, people in the right places, etc. To, creating maybe music at given point of time, is to get back to my work and creating some of these books, is thinking differently. Thinking in directions that, nobody would have thought before. So everything, right from people, having friends, getting into debates, today helps me. So each of this piece, which I've learned over the past 20 years, is helping me grow into my next role. And somebody asked me, what's your next big thing? I said, I don't know. But having learned every bit in the past, all that is coming together in living a better life, in driving a better organization, and making the company to the next level as such. So today, if you're sitting there and somebody tells you this is not worth it, give it a shot. Give it a try, because you never know what skill that you are developing today will be utilized in the future. So every skill is important. Maybe today you're learning accounting, tomorrow you'll learn something else, computers. Day after you might learn something new. It might not help you today, but as you grow, your wings will spread, and each of this small activity or skill that you've developed can be used, and that will take you to a direction that nobody else has traveled. And trust me, there's no better fun in creating a whole new landscape for yourself and a lovely path for your life. Thank you very much. You've been a great audience. Thank you very much.